Richard, you made a very, very compelling presentation and talked about a lot of different things. And your final piece about the video really touched a lot of people. I'm wondering, do you consider yourself to be an optimist or a pessimist at this point? Where are we going?
I can say with truth that I'm an optimistic futurist.
Okay.
Because everything that we do is about the future, and a lack of optimism is incompatible with where one takes the future. You've got to be optimistic, you've got to be positive about making things better. Our definition of design or innovation is making things better for people. If it's not about people, then what the devil is it about?
Right.
So yeah, I am, but not a cockeyed optimist, I'd like to think, but an experienced and well-informed optimist.
Okay. How do you think that the, you kind of, talked about kind of this global aspect. How do you think the globalization, what's going on in the world, what impact is that having on design?
I think globalization is having two effects. Large globally organized companies are often seeking things with very little variation. Mm-hmm. They want to be able to get the one thing out to as many people as possible with as little variation as possible. But on the other side, what I see is a reaction to that. And if we look at technologically how the world's moving on with additive manufacturing capability and customization through what we call 3D printing, a very misleading term, but basically last step manufacturing. Things being made just before you have them, things being made by these new technologies that are specifically customized to you, that runs completely in the face of that. Or it appears to do. When you look underneath it, you find that you still need logistics and supply base that's global. But I believe in mass customization. I believe in things that are going to be just for you, because all of the technologies, the Internet of Things, everything is pointing in on that.
So mass customization almost sounds like a dichotomy. So can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, mass customization is about that you are producing very, very large quantities of things, but they're all specifically modified or adapted to the individual. And when one uses that term, people often go, oh, isn't that what Nike tried to do with design your own shoe? Mm-hmm. Not really, because people aren't very good at designing their own anything. Mm-hmm. It's more to do with, I think an example I gave about customized drugs, for instance, being printed at the pharmacy rather than coming in boxes from Switzerland is a good example of that, is that what you get is a much more accurately delivered, personalized thing, but which is easier to do than what's being done at the moment.
Okay. Do you see this mass customization as something that's trending as we think about making our offerings more regionally relevant in different parts of the world, and getting away from sort of this sort of sameness that we're looking at globally?
I'd like to believe that that's true. As someone who's worked all around the world and seen these different cultures, the thing that scares me to death is the idea of a globally homogeneous, coffee-coloured everything that's just the same. Because so much really brilliant stuff in culture is being annihilated by large, rich businesses that can just do that. Mm-hmm. So the idea of bringing to the fore or being able to extract deeper cultural resonances and things to produce things that are more regionally appropriate, I think is definitely where it should go. Mm-hmm. Because we can do that.
Great.
It's actually back to the Middle Ages in many ways, the world that we're in at the moment. Very interesting. Our communications are like the Middle Ages. If the blacksmith was crap in the village, everybody knew. But the difference is it's the size of the world now. Mm-hmm. So in a 21st century context, if you lie, you die.
Yeah.
You extinguish yourself because somebody can shoot back, for nothing on the web. So we have to get to a point where things are really, really good and delightful, so that people will talk about them, and if they do that, then virally they benefit. Everything is different now.
Yeah. So, also in thinking about the, um, the digital world that we're living in, and the pace of change in digital, where do you see that going in the next couple of years? How do you think digital is going to affect packaging and affect product design and affect the world of design?
When people talk about digital, I often wonder what they mean. When electricity first came to the eastern seaboard of the United States, via Westinghouse eventually, obviously, because they had AC, people talked about the electricity that's coming, the electric light, the electric this, the electric that. It took years for the thrall of the electric to disappear. Because electricity was first talked about as an it, a thing, not a how, which it is. Internet is a how, it's not an it. Digital is a how, it's not an it. Email's an it, yeah, internet is the how. So we're still in this thrall, we call it a digital this. It's kind of a nonsense, we need to get beyond it. Digital, if you really want to use that, I use it, it's an amplifier for doing what you want to do, or get it to more people. Think of it like that.
Okay.
Or being able to communicate between things in a way that you couldn't do before. We need to get beyond this very basic, juvenile understanding of what digital actually means. It's there to help. And without the ideas for the products and the services, we're nowhere in.
Okay. Any other advice for people in the packaging industry as they're thinking about innovating and how they should be innovating?
My advice is get in as close as you can at the early incept of the product, and that's hard work. That's marketing from the packaging industry's point of view, to point out the benefits of it all. It's all the product, because that is the position in the 21st century. That's where it actually is. So if you end up being something that glams something up and gets thrown in the bin, in a lazy culture, that can last for a bit, but Europe doesn't want that.
Yeah.
And by God, Gen Z doesn't want it.
Well, speaking of that was going to be my next question. You're very passionate about young people, and you obviously with the video that you showed, and I'm wondering what advice you would give to Gen Z or Gen Z as it were.
English then.
Yeah.
What advice I give to them?
What advice would you give to those young people who want to come into the design industry?
My advice is bring your passion for improving the world with you, and don't be beaten down, and don't shut up, because the more of you that are saying it, the more the ship will turn into the wind.
Okay.
Stick true to the humanity of what you're doing.
And finally, what are you most excited about? What's going on in the world? What are the kind of the trends or things that are happening that is really getting you excited?
All of it. There's never been a more exciting time for, as I said, for 500 years. We have this unbelievable burgeoning of technological capability that isn't matched by the imagination that goes with it. Imagination is lagging. We can do almost anything now. That's not the same quote as the guy that said everything that could be done has been done.
Right.
It means that the landscape, or the horizon for what we can do, is almost infinitely stretched out of us. That's an amazing place to be. That's a great time to be alive.
Yeah, a good time to be alive. Well, thank you very much, Richard. Appreciate your time.
Pleasure.